So your kid or even yourself starting a new martial art, and your dojo says, get a uniform. Not every dojo issues uniforms, so sometimes you have to buy your own and apply your own patches. Or maybe you want an extra uniform for practice, or your child has destroyed a uniform, it's time to replace one. In this video, we're going to go over how to choose a uniform, the differences between the materials and the sizes, and how to measure for the uniform before you order. Okay, time to pick out a uniform. I know for the karate girls, they like to have their own set of pants that are separate from what's issued to them. You know, kids grow, they need new sizes. Maybe they don't like the weight of the material. So let's go over a few things that you'll be looking at when you go to pick out a uniform. For starters, the thing you're going to notice is there are multiple weights. Ultra light, light, medium, heavy, ultra heavy, instructor grade. All these weights of uniforms you'll come across. What it comes down to is the material. When I say 6 ounce, 8 ounce, 10 ounce, 6.5 ounces, 14 ounces, this is the weight of 1 yard of the material. That's the standard measurement. 1 yard of material should weigh that many ounces. So the more ounces, the heavier the material is going to be. The thicker it's going to be, the thicker it's going to feel. So a couple examples here. Here is ultralight. This is a 5 ounce material. This is super light, super thin. Now it's got a nice material. It's very soft. This feels kind of like sweat wicking material. It's very soft. It's so nice. It's actually pretty good quality. This is made by, who makes it? This is Zephyr. Zephyr's a good brand to get. You'll see that they have the real thick, nice stitching on this. It's got 3 rows right here. Or 4 rows. 4 rows on the stitching there. That's a 4-row stitching. They say how many stitches are on the seam. That makes a stronger seam. Judo or jujitsu might have 6 or 8 rows because you get a lot of pulling and tugging in judo, jujitsu. But this is really light. The downside of light is it doesn't make a lot of noise when it moves around. Karate likes that snapping sound when you do a kick or a punch. It's really cool, especially if you're an instructor. I won't get to instructor material. But this is great if you just want to work out. You sweat a lot. It's hot where you live. A real light material is nice. So this is the ultra light. Again, everything we have here is available on KarateOutfitter.com. We have a light uniform. This is done by, this is Proforce. Proforce is a great brand. They sell more karate gear than anybody else. Not more uniforms. We'll talk about Bold. Bold sells the most uniforms. I'll talk about them in a second. So this is a little bit heavier material. It's not nearly as soft. The heavier you get, the less soft it's going to be. The very heavy stuff is going to feel like canvas, but it's super strong. You'll see this one's also a 4-stitch along the edges here, so pretty strong material. It's going to make a little bit more noise when it flaps, when you throw that punch, when you throw that kick. It's a little, hear that nice flapping sound. So it's a little bit heavier material. This is more along the lines of what you'll get for free from a lot of schools. They'll say, take a class, get a free uniform. This is about that weight, that low, middle, maybe middle weight, about 8 ounces, maybe. Just kind of this lower weight material. It's not 100% cotton. It'll be polyester cotton blend. But this is that kind of material. As you get heavier material, we've got some 12 ounce material. This is nice, thick. See how thick this is? Makes a nice snapping sound when you make movements. This is JFO. A less known brand, but a pretty good brand. You see this one's got 5 rows of stitching. Much stronger material here. This is great for making that noise. The thicker materials, the heavier weight will last a lot longer too. What makes it so much better is that the material is more condensed. So nice sound you flopping it. So this will last several years. It's a good material. It does get very hot. So if you live in Florida, like the karate girls do, it's very hot. Great for Wisconsin, maybe. Then there's instructor grade or heavy grade materials, they call it. I'll bring up my shirt here. Really heavy material, very heavy. 12, 14 ounces, 18 ounces, 20 ounces. Might be 100% cotton. It can still be a 12 or 18 ounce material at 35% cotton or 55% cotton. But this is going to make a lot of noise when you throw those punches, those kicks, because you're demonstrating. Material will last a real long time. You can't. Well, I got a bolt. You can't see how many rows of stitching I have because I have my trim on it. But this is actually 8 rows of stitching on it. Very strong material. Great for towing. And that would be similar to like a jiu-jitsu or judo uniform. Now, about the styles themselves. So traditional karate uniforms are just what you expect, like a robe. You cross it over and you can wear the belt. That's a traditional karate uniform. Pretty simple stuff. Mr. Karate Girl, come over here. And you'll see when you put on a traditional karate uniform, let's see, this one's a size 1, that'll fit you. Put on the size 1. And that's it. And you have the belt. Some of them have these little ties to help hold it in place. That's a little more modern invention. Full-on traditional ones don't have those ties. Your belt holds it in place around your waist right here. That's traditional style. So karate, tang sudo, judo, jiu-jitsu will use this style. Some taekwondo will use this style. We'll talk about taekwondo uniforms here in a second. But they'll have that general shape to it. What separates the types is the judo and jiu-jitsu will be very, very durable, thicker material, designed for grabbing, for the grappling, because they're all about grabbing and grappling. Karate training is not as much grabbing and grappling, so you don't need as heavy material. You're jumping a lot, you're throwing a lot of kicks, throwing a lot of punches. So the lighter material is a little bit easier to move in, adds a little more flexibility. So it's by design not as heavy and as thick. All right, so about the taekwondo uniforms, they don't have the flap, the modern ones. It's just like a pullover t-shirt. Just you pull on a t-shirt, it's a t-shirt you wear. Those are available also on karateoutfitters.com. You're going to need this in your life. This is tape used for measuring clothing. This is perfect. It's got centimeters. It's got inches. We recommend doing everything in centimeters. A lot of the stuff you buy will come from outside of the United States, so we have the centimeters available. So it takes some measurements. Come back, sweetie. So on karateoutfitters.com, we do have the uniform sizing guide. I got it right here. You guys can see our uniform sizing guide on our website right there. I'm kind of peeking that as I go. And we're going to measure a few things. You'll see there's A through H on there. So first, we're going to do her height. And we'll see that she is 52.5 inches. That's our A size. She's 52.5 inches. All right. Next thing we're going to measure is the B size. B is going to be kind of your torso site. So we're going to measure from about where the belt is. You can see where her waistline is. The belt to the shoulder. You want to measure that length. Again, very easy to do. We're going to do this one in centimeters. So we go from the shoulder right down to the belt. And for this young lady, she is 34 centimeters. And what we're going to do, because we're detailed oriented and we want to make sure we have everything documented, we're going to use our very nice karateoutfitter.com diary. And we're going to start writing these sizes down. So her height we had at 52.5 inches. Write that down. 35 centimeters. All right, next thing we want to do is we want to do her waist, her straight waist side. This isn't like a wraparound side, so we're going to do straight across the waist. For her, it's going to be 24 inches, so 24 centimeters. All right. Then we're going to do her actual waist. You just wrap the material. Go ahead and just wrap the material all the way around like this. Pull it tight. And I would say loosen it a little bit. So instead of doing 60 for her, I'm going to loosen it up, do 60, do 62. Kids don't want the uniform that tight. It's got elastic. So just go a little bit big on that, 62 centimeters. We're going to need her wingspan. So put your arms out. So we want to measure from wrist to wrist. The same kind of deal. I'm just going to put on this camera here. Put on the wrist right here. Stretch it straight across to that wrist. Her wingspan is 102 centimeters. A very nice wingspan, my dear. 102 centimeters. We're going to need her height from her waist down to her toes. This might be so I'm going to say the out seam. This is your inseam. That's your out seam. We're going to measure from the waist all the way down to her feet. So, sweetie, if you hold that, so you can see your waist to your feet. And again, we're going to find her waist, do it from the beginning of this tape. And let's go down to where we want the pants to hang. The pants, let's say we want to hang 64 centimeters. All right, and then for the belt length. The belt length is going to be a little bit different. You got to do a little math on this. So we want the belt to wrap around the waist twice, and then have a knot, and then have two pieces hang down. For most martial arts, that's the way it does. So when you do the belt measurements, you can measure around the waist, multiply by 2. That's your 2 times around. The knot itself will depend based on a variety of factors, but I can kind of demonstrate using this how long the knot is. So we'll start here in centimeters. I'll just tie a simple karate knot on this as it goes through there, goes back through there. Simple karate knot, and you see it goes from 4 centimeters to 22 centimeters on this little one. But what's different is this is very thin. So thicker pieces of belt are going to be longer because they're going to interrupt each other. So check out your belt size. This one you're going to have to try a couple ones out. Won't be exact measurement. So I'll just say take your belt size and multiply it by 4. Take your belt size, or maybe 3 or 4, somewhere in that range. Find one that's about your waist length by 3 or 4, somewhere in that range. The reason why I say 3 or 4, I'm pretty tall. I'm over 6 feet tall. So I want more string hanging down. Otherwise, it's like a bow tie on me if I have a little bit of string hanging down my waist. My daughter's short. I don't want that much. I have a whole bunch hanging. It's going to look silly. So between 3 or 4 of your waist sizes should be about your belt size. So again, personal preference of how long you want that extra piece to be. You want long, you want a short, that's totally fine. Now, you've taken the Karate Girls measurements, you're taking your kids' measurements, or your own measurements. We're going to put these up against the chart. So we'll use our sample child here. We did her height in foot inches, 52 inches. That's 4 foot 4. So she's between a 0 and a 1 based on that first measurement. Now we're going to look at her wingspan. We said 102 inches would be her jacket wingspan. You see 102 falls less than a 000. She got pretty short arms. So we can get her a 0 or a 1 and just shorten the sleeves. That's very easy to do. You'll see in our chart where it has places you can shorten. The hem lines are called out there. Next thing we're going to look at is her torso height. Her torso height was 35 centimeters, far less than anything on the diagram here, which is good because you want her waist to be about halfway between the top and bottom of B. You want to have some overhang. You don't want the uniform to stop right at her waist. So if her torso is 35, you want to make sure that this is at least a fair amount past that. So if we do 62, gives you almost 30 centimeters past it, with very good look to it. C is going to be the width of the jacket. We did her width at 24, and you'll see she's far less than 21. One of those really skinny people. So again, you can wrap it tighter, tie it off better, plenty of options there. I don't worry too much about size D here, especially her being so skinny. Size D, you need to be concerned about if you're more like me. You got big muscles, you got big forearms and big biceps. You want to make sure that you hit a huge hand, make sure it fits through D. That's the only real reason you need to measure that. The vast majority of us, doesn't matter. It's going to fit. But if you've got big arms and big hands, take the time to measure through D. Measurement E is the outseam. We measured her outseam at 64 centimeters. You see her outseam's closer to a 000. Again, we can just hem and raise it up. She's a shorty. She's a petite shorty, so we can raise it up. So we can probably get away with a 000 based on how skinny she is. But based on her height, you want to go with a 1 or a 0. I would recommend, she's halfway between the 0 and the 1. I would recommend just go with the 1 and then hem the legs and the arms to make it match. And there's other measurements here. We talk about belt measurements. Again, your belt may not match your jacket. That's why belts are usually sold separately. Most of your karate uniforms come with a free white belt. If you're buying your uniform, you're probably past the white belt by this chance. So that's where you get those measurements from. If you want to test belt sizes, take that measuring tape and put it on as a belt and see how long it comes out at the way you like it. Use that as the actual measurement. Or just start wearing belts and see what fits you. I know for me, I like to do a size 6. That way I don't have the hangout. And I don't have too much hanging off or too little, making like a little bow tie around my waist. Things to think about when you're doing your belts and when you're doing your uniforms. Your school will probably issue you one, so take advantage of that. Use the one they give you. I know for my daughters, they issued us a very nice set. They used Bold, which is the top selling uniform brand in the country. Bold sells more than anybody else. We carry Bold on karateoutfitters.com. We decided, because they're growing up so fast, that we're going to buy pants for them as they go. The legs grow much faster than the arms. So they've been wearing a size 3 for some of them on their shirts for a long time. We moved it to a 4 or 5 on the pants as we go. Also, don't be afraid on the pants to buy too big. They're elastic, and you can actually hem the edge or shorten the pants, as it's called. And I'll have a video on how to do that. So a pair of pants can last one student a very, very long time, which goes back to the weight. Lightweight won't last as long as heavyweight. Heavyweight will last the longest, longer than medium weight. It's thicker material. It's a better material. When you're shopping for these and you start feeling materials and getting samples and stuff, don't worry if it feels very coarse. All of them feel coarse the very, very first time you get them. As you wash them and as you use them, they'll get much, much softer. Because basically what happens is the thread's stiff. The thread's very stiff, and as you wash it, the threads start getting looser and looser and looser and looser. Now, at a point, the lightweight stuff's just going to fall apart. The materials don't have enough tension; that'll just fall apart. The heavyweight is much denser. You got a lot more strings. It'll take years or decades for it to wear out enough where it falls apart. Nothing lasts forever, but the heavier material always lasts much, much, much longer. So that's it. Again, everything we sell, we talked about today, we sell on karateoutfitters.com. Make sure your family has measuring tape. You're going to need help measure things out. And if you have any questions, be sure to contact us. There's a contact us form on karateoutfitters.com. Leave some comments, hit like, hit subscribe, and I want to say goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.